The doorbell shatters the quiet like a sudden crack of thunder on a clear day. I pause, hands still wrapped around the carton of milk I was just about to set down. The sun floods my kitchen with the golden warmth of the late afternoon, but a chill brushes my spine. Visitors are rare, and unexpected ones even more so. The sound echoes overly loud in the stillness of my empty home. I wipe my hands on my apron as I move toward the door, the wooden floor cool under my feet. My name is Ashley, and I am a 50-year-old widow who's learned to find solace in the rhythm of daily chores and the quiet murmuring of my garden winds. As I reach the door, I take a deep breath, bracing myself for anything from a salesman to a mistaken delivery. Nothing prepares me for the sight before me. Olivia, my daughter, 25 years old and visibly pregnant, stands there. Her face is a canvas of exhaustion and worry, eyes rimmed red as if she's been crying for hours. Beside her, clutching her hand with the trust only a child can have, is Philip, her 5-year-old son, who looks equally distressed. "Mom, can we come in?" Olivia's voice trembles, a stark contrast to the firm, cheerful tones I remember. It's as if the weight of her world is now balanced precariously on her slight shoulders. "Of course, my dear," I reply, stepping aside to let them in. As I close the door behind them, sealing off the cool breeze that had started to rise outside, a palpable sense of relief seems to pass through Olivia. Yet, the tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes dart around the familiar surroundings of the foyer, speak of deeper untold stories. "Let's sit down. You look like you could use a rest," I suggest, guiding her gently towards the living room. Philip follows silently, his small hand slipping into mine, his trust immediate and complete in the safety of his grandmother's presence. As we settle on the soft cushions of the couch, the late sunlight spilling through the windows bathes us in its warmth, but does little to ease the chill that has settled inside me. Olivia takes a deep, shuddering breath, and I reach over to squeeze her hand, an unspoken encouragement to open up about what shadows have driven her to seek refuge here, in the home she grew up in. "It's Randy," she begins, her voice a mere whisper, and my heart tightens. Randy, her husband of just a few years, has never been the man I would have chosen for her. His charm too often masking a sharper, more selfish nature. He left us, Mom. Said he couldn't handle the burden anymore. As she speaks, her words punctuated by Philip's soft sniffles, my mind races through the possibilities, the whys and hows I might fix this shattered picture before me. But first, I need to listen to understand all of it, every painful detail. Here in the fading light, my little family feels both fractured and whole, caught in a moment of pain yet surrounded by the walls that have witnessed decades of laughter and tears. We are together, and that is a start. The shadows lengthen across the living room floor, stretching like dark fingers towards us as Olivia begins to recount the story of her unraveling marriage. I listen, each word etching deeper lines of worry across my heart. The room, usually a sanctuary of calm, feels charged with the palpable weight of her distress. "Mom, it started small." Olivia's voice cracks as she delves into the memories, each one seemingly more painful than the last. Little comments about how I moved slower, or how often I needed help. Then the comments turned into arguments. Her hands are tightly clasped in her lap, knuckles white with the strain of her recollections. Beside her, Philip, his innocence a stark contrast to the complexity of adult grievances, plays absently with a loose thread on a cushion, his small brow furrowed in mimicry of his mother's distress. "It wasn't always like this," she continues, "and a part of me, a mother's heart, aches to remember the Randy who had charmed us all at that birthday party years ago. He was vibrant, full of life and ambition, his eyes only for Olivia. But the man she describes now is a stranger hardened by expectations and frustrations. He began working late, so late, Mom. At first, I thought it was just the pressure of his job," Olivia says, her voice a hollow echo of her former cheerfulness. "But then the late nights became absences, and the absences became neglect." There's a bitter edge to her words, a testament to the nights spent alone, wrestling with uncertainty and fear while carrying the growing burden of their unborn child. I reach out, my hand covering hers, offering silent solidarity as she struggles through her story. And his temper, it got worse. I felt like I was walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger an outburst. I couldn't do anything right, she whispers, a tear escaping down her cheek. The room feels colder now, the sun's warmth retreating as if to spare itself from the chill of Randy's shadow. Olivia pauses, gathering the tattered edges of her courage. He told me he felt trapped, that the house, the pregnancy, it was all too much. That he needed space from me, from Philip. She chokes out, the words laced with the poison of rejection. My heart seethes with a quiet fury, the protective instinct in me rising like a tide. How could he? To leave his pregnant wife, his young son, what kind of man does such a thing? And then today, Olivia lifts her eyes to mine, pools of despair framed by red-rimmed lids. He drove us here, dropped us off with nothing but a suitcase each. He said he couldn't do this anymore, that he was done. The finality in her voice cuts through the thickening air. Philip, sensing the shift, moves closer to Olivia, his small hand finding hers, his presence a balm to her splintering world. I squeeze her hand tighter, my resolve cementing itself. You are not alone, I assure her, my voice firm with the promise. We will get through this together. As the last light fades from the room, casting us into the comforting embrace of twilight, I know what I must do. Tomorrow I will start making calls, seeking legal advice, ensuring that this abandonment does not leave them destitute. But tonight, I will hold my daughter and my grandson, weaving a net of safety around their fragile lives. In this room where generations of our family have found refuge from their storms, we brace ourselves against the gale of Randy's departure, finding strength in our unity. Here in the gathering darkness, we begin to forge our path forward together. As the new day dawns, the quietude of the morning belies the storm that passed through our lives the night before. The sun casts a gentle glow through the gauzy curtains of the living room, a stark contrast to the tumultuous revelations that unfolded within these walls. I watch as Olivia, still ensconced in the embrace of the couch, stirs slightly in her sleep. Philip, ever the guardian despite his tender age of 5, sleeps curled beside her, his small hand clutching her arm. This morning my house feels both a sanctuary and a battleground, a place where wounds are both inflicted and healed. I set about preparing breakfast, the clinking of dishes a mundane soundtrack to my racing thoughts. The familiar routine helps anchor me, each task a step towards normalcy, each clatter a defiance against the chaos that Randy has thrust into our lives. As I brew the coffee, the rich aroma fills the kitchen, weaving through the air like a comforting promise. I set 3 places at the table, each setting a testament to my resolve. Today, I will not let despair sit at our table. Today, I feed strength and courage to my daughter and grandson. Olivia awakens with a start, her eyes wide before they settle on the surroundings, remembering where she is, the events of the previous day crashing back into her consciousness. She catches my eye and I offer her a smile, a silent reassurance. Breakfast is almost ready, I call softly, not wanting to disturb Philip's slumber. She nods, a grateful smile tugging at the corners of her mouth, and gently extricates herself from the couch to freshen up. I watch her ascend the stairs, each step a labor, not just of physical weight but the heaviness of her burdened heart. It's in these moments, watching her battle through, that my resolve hardens further. Randy will not break us. With breakfast served and Philip now animatedly recounting his dreams from the night before, we seem almost a normal family. But beneath the chatter, under the clink of spoons against bowls, lies a palpable tension. Once breakfast is done, Olivia helps clear the table, a semblance of routine lending us a fragile normalcy. We need to talk about what comes next. I broach the subject as we sit, the remains of our meal cleared away, the morning light now fully casting its scrutiny upon us. Legally, financially, We need to know where you stand and what we can do. Olivia nods, her face set in a determined line. I know. I've been thinking about it all night. I don't think I can go back to him, Mom. Not after this. Her voice is firmer now. The decision made in the darkest hours of the night now brought into the light of day. It's a decision born of pain but also of an emerging strength. I nod supportive. Then we'll figure this out together. I'll help you find a good lawyer. We need to ensure you and Philip are protected. The discussion turns practical, a list of necessities lengthening, financial documents, a new bank account, a visit to a family therapist for both Olivia and Philip. Each task is a step towards independence, a move away from Randy's shadow. By midday, I have made several calls. Friends recommend lawyers, therapists, and more. The community we've lived in all our lives rallies around us, offers of help and support flowing in. It's heartening, this reminder that while one person has let Olivia down, a whole community stands ready to lift her up. As the sun climbs higher, our plan solidifies. Olivia's eyes, once dull with resigned despair, now spark with a flicker of hope. Together we begin to rebuild from the rubble that Randy left behind, our spirits bolstered by the solidarity and love that surrounds us. In this house of healing we stitch together the seams of a new beginning, each thread a promise of renewal and resilience. The morning sun had crawled across the sky, casting long shadows by the time Randy's car pulled up outside. The sight of it sends a tremor of unease through me, the sleek black vehicle seeming more like a dark cloud on our freshly cleared horizon. Olivia stiffens beside me at the window, her hand finding mine, seeking strength in its grasp. Is he coming in? Her voice is a whisper, fragile yet filled with a newfound resolve. No, I reply, my tone firm, protective. I'll handle this. Stepping out onto the porch, I brace myself as Randy emerges from the car. His usual swagger is tempered today. Perhaps the gravity of his actions is finally dawning on him. As he approaches, I can't help but marvel at how the charming young man Olivia once fell in love with could morph into the stranger before me now. Ashley, he greets, his voice cautious. I brought some of Olivia's and Philip's things. His words hang between us, a feeble bridge over the chasm his actions have created. Leave them on the porch. Olivia will get them later. I say, my voice steady, betraying none of the anger simmering inside. Randy pauses, his eyes searching mine for signs of the familiar warmth he once took for granted. Finding none, he nods slowly and returns to his car to fetch the suitcases. Watching him, I feel a pang of sorrow for what was supposed to be the family we thought we were building together. He sets down the suitcases with a thud, each one echoing on the wooden planks of the porch. Ashley, he starts, but I raise my hand to stop him. Save your explanations, Randy. Save them for someone who might still believe them, I interrupt sharply. You've made your choices clear. Randy's face hardens as his initial attempt at reconciliation crumbles. I did what I felt was necessary. I'm not cut out for the domestic life, for being tied down, he retorts, his voice gaining an edge. And yet you vowed to be. I shoot back, my words laced with the betrayal felt by Olivia. You made promises to your family, Randy, to your wife and son. He looks away, unable to meet my gaze, his posture deflated. I need to be free, Ashley. I thought I wanted that life, but I was wrong. His admission stings, a bitter confirmation of his abandonment. Being free doesn't mean you get to break others' hearts, I say. Olivia is starting the divorce process. She and Philip will be fine without you. They have support. They have people who genuinely care about their well-being. Randy looks back at the house, perhaps hoping for a glimpse of Olivia or Philip, a sign of the life he's leaving behind. But the curtains are drawn, the windows a barrier to his deserted aspirations. I'll set up child support. I won't leave them with nothing, he says finally, a small concession in the wake of his departure. I'll believe it when I see it, I respond, skepticism coloring my tone. And we will be ensuring everything is formalized legally. You can't just walk in and out of their lives as you please. With that, I turn back towards the house, leaving Randy standing alone on the porch. The door closes behind me with a definitive click, a seal against the turmoil he brought into our lives. Inside, Olivia is waiting, her expression anxious. I wrap my arms around her, a silent promise of my unwavering support. We're moving forward, Liv. It's just us now, but that's enough. She nods against my shoulder, a silent acceptance of our new reality. Together, with Philip playing at our feet, we watch through the window as Randy drives away, a chapter closing with the crunch of gravel under tires, leaving us to rebuild in the peace that follows the storm. The days blur together in a flurry of activity as we navigate the aftermath of Randy's departure. Legal proceedings are initiated, paperwork filed, and support systems activated. But amidst the chaos, there is a sense of purpose, a determination to emerge from the wreckage stronger than before. As Olivia focuses on rebuilding her life, I take on the role of guardian, ensuring that every aspect of her and Philip's well-being is safeguarded. Lawyers are consulted, financial arrangements made, and a new sense of empowerment begins to blossom within Olivia. She is no longer the timid woman who once bowed to Randy's demands. She is a lioness fiercely protective of her pride. In the quiet moments between appointments and phone calls, Olivia and I share heart-to-heart conversations, the kind that lay bare our deepest fears and hopes. She confides in me about her dreams for the future, of providing a stable home for Philip, of pursuing her passions once again, of finding love that honors and respects her. Meanwhile, Philip thrives under the gentle guidance of his mother and grandmother. With Randy's toxic presence removed from their lives, he blossoms like a delicate flower finally freed from the shadows. His laughter fills the house once again, echoing through the halls like a melody of hope. But amidst the progress, there are moments of doubt and uncertainty. Olivia's eyes still carry the weight of the betrayal she endured, and the scars of Randy's emotional abuse run deep. I see the flicker of insecurity in her gaze, the lingering question of whether she is truly worthy of love and happiness. It is in these moments that I become her steadfast anchor, reminding her of her worth, her strength, and her resilience. Together we weather the storms of doubt and fear, emerging stronger with each passing day. And then one fateful afternoon, as we sit in the warmth of the backyard, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the love of family, a breakthrough occurs. Olivia's eyes, once clouded with uncertainty, now sparkle with a newfound sense of clarity. "I am worthy," she declares, her voice ringing with conviction. "Worthy of love, of happiness, of all the good things life has to offer." In that moment I see the transformation complete. A woman reborn from the ashes of her past, ready to embrace the future with open arms. And as the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm glow over our little corner of the world, I know that no matter what challenges lie ahead, we will face them together, stronger and more resilient than ever before. The days begin to lengthen as we inch towards the cusp of summer, the sun casting a golden sheen over the blossoming garden. The seasons change, as do we. The weight of the past has not so much been shed as it has been transformed into something wearable, a garment stitched with threads of resilience and hope. Philip, now ever more curious and jubilant, dances through the garden, chasing the butterflies that dare to invade his newfound paradise. Olivia watches from the porch, her eyes reflecting the azure sky, a mirror to the vastness and possibility it suggests. There's a softness to her now, tempered by strength, like steel encased in velvet. We've established routines, the kind that provide scaffolding to our days. Morning breakfasts are a symphony of chatter and laughter, the clinking of dishes a backdrop to plans being laid for the day ahead. Olivia has begun working from home, her talents in graphic design now finding a platform. It provides not just a distraction but a purpose, a reclaiming of the identity that had been overshadowed by her roles as wife and mother. In the afternoons while Philip naps, Olivia and I sit with cups of tea, our conversations meandering from the mundane to the profound. Today, she broaches the topic of her father, her words a delicate tiptoe through a garden of memories. I think Dad would have been proud of how we handled everything, she muses, tracing the rim of her teacup with a finger. I know he would have, I respond, my voice tinged with a blend of pride and sorrow. My husband, a pillar in our lives, had left us with the strength that now courses through our veins, invisible yet palpable. As the day wanes into evening, we prepare for the small gathering we've planned. It's not a celebration of anything particular, more a recognition of us, of the peace we've fought to establish. Neighbors and close friends aware of our journey, step into our home with smiles and dishes in hand. Their presence stitches the wider community into our personal tapestry of recovery. Philip, ever the entertainer, regales our guests with tales of his daytime adventures. Olivia, her laughter now easy and genuine, flits through the groups, a hostess finally comfortable in her reclaimed space. As the night deepens, the air filled with the symphony of soft music and gentler talk, Olivia pulls me aside. Her eyes, bright under the starlit sky, hold a universe of thanks. She hands me a small framed sketch. It's one of her own, a portrait of our home, each line imbued with the emotion of her journey. Mom, this is for you, to remind us of what we've come through, and what we've achieved. I hold the frame, the weight of her gift heavy with meaning. Thank you, my love. I manage, my voice thick with emotion. The portrait isn't just of a house. It's a testament to a fortress we've built from love and fierce determination. The party dwindles, guests departing with hugs and well wishes. The night wraps around us, a blanket under which we can finally rest. In the quiet that follows, as I put Philip to bed and watch Olivia tidying up with a contented sigh, I feel a profound sense of accomplishment. We've crafted something extraordinary from the shards of our old lives. A family dynamic that thrives on love, support, and the understanding that while the past may define the start of our journey, it does not dictate where it ends. As I finally turn off the lights, the house settles around me, its walls echoing with the soft, steady breathing of my family, sleeping peacefully. In this quiet I whisper a vow, a promise to maintain this sanctuary, our home, a place of peace and new beginnings.